Which camera are we on? It doesn't tell me which fucking camera we're on. Okay. Well, this was the world's weakest intro to a podcast. Hello, and welcome to episode 40 of the Kicking Back podcast. Today, I'm joined by the wonderful Guy Connor. Hiya, mate.
Good evening. Hello.
How you doing, sir?
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
The pleasure is all ours. And of course, Matthew Campbell.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm very well, man. I'm very well. I'm excited for this episode 40 of the podcast.
Episode 40.
Yeah.
I can't believe we've done that many, to be honest, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So, Guy.
Has this been like every week then?
Pretty much.
There was a break.
Or every night? Has it been every night?
Every single night. We've had I think we had 3 weeks off. No, but then we've had 3 weeks off. And then we've done one a week, every week.
So you had 3 weeks off before this one?
No.
Oh, right. Okay.
Early one. It's basically 3 weeks off when we moved in and built all this stuff.
It's beautiful.
It's so nice.
Oh,
it's a beautiful
Guy.
little studio.
Yeah.
Stop it. So, Guy, for the people at home that don't know who you are you and what do you do?
My name's Guy.
Hi, Guy.
Yes, hello. I am a musician.
Yeah.
And I play songs, write songs, and that's me. You know, I like to be Guy.
You like to be
I'm
Guy.
I am Guy. Yes. Yeah, I'm a singer-songwriter. I've been in various bands across my life. I've been around.
You've been around.
Yeah, I've been around the block for quite a while. And I'm enjoying myself, you know.
Yeah.
And here I am. You know, I kind of started doing officially doing solo music in the last year or so.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I'm sat here.
No, it's actually not the reason.
Not the reason.
It's
no,
not the
of course
reason,
not.
no, but...
Yeah, we said we'd get the music over in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, then we'll get on with the real shit. Yeah.
Doing music, writing songs, being one of them singer-songwriters, which is a term that I've made myself have to just deal with.
Yeah.
It's not I guess it's not always an image that is kind of seen. I don't know, there's a stigma around that title, but I do sing and I do write songs and that's what I love to do the most. So
Sick, man.
there we go.
How did you start getting into doing the kind of solo thing? Like, what inspired you?
Well, you know, like obviously when I was younger, started playing the guitar and getting into music, and then was really taken by songwriting. It was a couple of friends of mine in school, and they just wrote a song. It was like they were writing silly songs together, like Spanish banana sandwiches or something. The one song was called or whatever. Just writing kind of silly, like Mighty Boosh kind of style songs.
Yeah.
And I was just really taken with it. I was really taken with, wow, you can actually make that yourself. You've actually done that.
Mm-hmm.
And it inspired me. And I just had this huge kind of drive to start doing it myself. And I then started kind of trying to be serious, trying to write, you know, pop songs, proper songs. And then, yeah, I've been doing it ever since. It's one of my better addictions, I think. I would say.
Yeah. We'll talk about the others later.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
So I'm always interested in like people's like the house that they were growing up in. Like, you know, was it like a musical house? Were your parents like playing music to you? What was the kind of vibe?
Not particularly. No. I mean, I had a lovely childhood. There was no bad vibes there for me. I've been very lucky. So any of the angst that you hear in any songs is all just, you know, me trying to look cool, I guess. But it wasn't overly musical. I did that thing where you flick through your mum and dad's record collection, and they did have a record collection, and I didn't really find a lot that I really dug, but it was mostly in the car. We used to travel around in the car loads when we were kids, and we used to go on long drives at the weekends to go places. And the first time I ever went abroad, we drove down to France, stayed on a campsite. So we'd be listening to stuff in the car, and they'd have just cassettes. So I remember stuff like Paul Simon, Graceland was like one of my dad's favourite records, which is amazing. And they listened to a lot of Carly Simon and stuff like that. So there was music there, but it wasn't like thrust at me. It wasn't. And my dad always says, you know, because my brother as well is he's a musician as well. And my dad always says, you know, we don't know where you got it from. Because there's no one really. One of my cousins, Jane, is a classical musician. She plays cello. And I could be doing people a disservice here. But there's no one else popping out that's, we weren't the Von Trapps or anything like that.
Yeah. Right, okay.
So it came from somewhere.
But
I was just taken with that, you know, the fact that you can make something yourself, you know, and I like making stuff. And for me, recording is one of my favorite things, to make a record, to make something that you can then just listen to at any point, you know, and you'd like capture a moment and capture something beautiful as we are tonight.
So what was like, okay, was there a specific point where you kind of found the sort of, like, I always describe it as like teenage tearaway music. Like, what was the stuff that you were like pulling away from? It's like, okay, this is my thing. This is what I like. And like, what sort of bands and stuff was it?
Well, it kind of, I see it as going in two phases. The first phase was listening to like blues stuff, like blues electric guitar, like Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, and Dire Straits as well. I used to love I still love Dire Straits. And that kind of like blues, you know, classic rock kind of vibe. And that lit me up. Like, I remember listening to 24 Nights, Eric Clapton at the Royal Albert Hall, and there was a tune where it's called Have You Ever Loved a Woman? And it's just beautiful, just blues guitar on the, and I remember saying, that's how I want to play, that's how I want to sound. I want to be able to play that. I mean, I still can't play anything anywhere near that, but I still love that blues sound. So and Hendrix as well, like big, like just blew me away. Which is probably a little bit more of a cool handle to kind of, but and then it was Oasis, and like heard Oasis for the first, it was a Roll With It that like heard Roll With It for the first time.
I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah. A mate just brought the single round, and we were at a party, and a mate just stuck it on, and it just sounded dead fresh to me. And then I got into Oasis, and then you listen to interviews with like Noel Gallagher, and he was then talking about Neil Young and other people, and then you start kind of
branching out. Yeah.
But I was very lucky that when I was young, pre-Oasis, when I was like 12, 13, my mate's dad was one of my mate's dads was properly into music, and he had a massive record collection. And we used to sit, and he used to put on stuff. And so through him, I discovered like Led Zeppelin as well, and maybe more of the Stones, and some random stuff like Japan and mad like prog stuff, and Fleetwood Mac. And so I kind of got introduced to a lot of things early on.
Right. Okay.
You know, so I was never into the kind of like current pop music that kids around me at school were into. I would go home and listen to Eric Clapton. And feel like a geek. But you know,
there won't be anything as exciting as that again, like Led Zeppelin and like Jimi Hendrix and stuff, like coming out and hearing that. I really don't think like our generation would have had it in the same way. Even in, like with technology, I think like having electric guitars and like just kind of huge rock, like multi-track thing. Do you think it would ever be like that kind of like brand new sounding?
Yeah. Well, do you know what I mean? I respect that completely, but I generally think that I think music's just as good. You know, I think
I agree with you.
I think it's also getting better in a way, and it's getting better. And from being at a point of view now where you've got all of that. You've got Led Zeppelin, you've got Oasis, you've got Clapton, and then you've got so much more now because there's been more time passed. You know what I mean? Since rock, and if we're talking about rock music, since rock was born, you've got so many. I'm sticking my hands out there.
We did this test before.
Yeah, you've just got so much more to dive into. But I think music now is mega. Like, there's so much good stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And I think, people can make stuff like here, like, you couldn't have done this 20 years ago. You couldn't have just had a studio like this. You couldn't have had access to this gear and afforded this gear that we're using now to make this. And so it's just so much more like malleable.
Yeah.
Like, you can just create stuff and make stuff. And I think it's just made everything, it's like exploded for me. When I hear people say, oh, there's no good music anymore. There's no good bands anymore. There's no good. Fine, I respect their opinion completely. But for me, it's like, it's never ending and it's just getting better. And I keep hearing stuff like you were saying that it just blows me away. And and it keeps me hungry to listen to new stuff. And I think that in a way keeps you young in a way, in terms that you always want to, like, you keep an open mind, you keep experiencing new things, and that's healthy.
What things have you listened to recently?
I knew you were going to ask that.
You little fucker.
That's the worst question.
We're getting away from that one, were you?
Do you know what? I've not been listening to a lot recently.
No.
However, what do I like? Well, I was listening to the new Little Sims record the other night when I was driving.
I don't know, Little Sims. What's the vibe?
What else have I been listening to? John Times 2 is a really good, heavy band.
John Times 2.
And
is that like?
But even Adele's new single is amazing, man.
Yeah.
I think Adele's amazing.
Yeah, she's incredible. She's so good.
And I'm trying to think of stuff. It's always hard when you put on the spot.
Yeah.
But like what I did. Spotify. Am I allowed to mention Spotify?
We are a
really...
Spotify podcast, so
right, good.
You can mention them.
Well, they, with their radio, where you've got the Spotify radio, so you find a song you like, and then it plays you loads. And you just find loads of stuff, like Georgia Smith.
Oh, she's
amazing, man.
I love her voice.
Yeah, and also like. Yeah, there's just loads of really, really just amazing stuff coming out. All the time.
I think the most recent thing that I've heard. Is James there? James? Is he there?
No, he's done one, mate.
He's popped up, hasn't he? James showed us this. He showed you the other day.
Oh, in here?
Yeah.
Oh, that was mind blowing. Yeah.
I don't know what it was. Yeah. It was the nastiest sounding thing I've ever heard. I've never heard anything.
That would have been me, mate.
And it was just like it had that, like, you talk about that excitement.
Yeah, totally.
That excited me a lot. I was like, I've never heard anything like this before.
Yeah. I think like there is no. It's like it's like fashion. It's the way you walk down the street and you can just see so much variety of styles and looks, and everything's mishmashed and genres are blending, and that reflects in music. It's like you listen to the new Kanye record. It's like an hour and 20 minutes long. It's like a whole film length. And he just throws everything. He throws everything in it. Like, and I love that, me. I love. I don't really even have to enjoy it. I just. Obviously, to listen to something over and over, you need to love it, or to listen to something to create a vibe, or to. But for me, it's nice to listen to from a point of view of research, where you just go, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have put that snare drum there. I wouldn't have put that vocal there. I wouldn't have done that in that way. And I'm constantly being surprised, and I think that's amazing.
I think that's definitely something I don't do. Is like, if I listen to something, I'm not like digging it straight away. I kind of just like, Do you know what I mean? I do shrug it off quite easily.
Well, I'm the same as well, but I guess it depends what your mood you're in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember Kate Chapman pointed out with pretty much any song or any genre or something, if you listen to it enough, like, or if you stick with it as you listen to it, you'll probably find something like. So that really resonated with me. I definitely have that now.
That's a good piece for that.
Yeah, if I'm like watching a live thing and at first I'm like not bothered, and that not bothered thing, I try and like call that out and be like, actually, I'll find something. And usually there is. I don't think I've ever actually listened to a band, even if they suck. I've never like come across the way I couldn't find something to enjoy. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Even if they like make loads of mistakes, sometimes some of the mistakes are even pretty cool. You know, there's something in there that you could.
That's a good way to live, man. If you can find something good in every situation, you know, then you're gonna do all right.
That's a good ethos.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes. Yes.
So, I wanted to talk about Paris Riots.
All right.
A little bit.
Okay.
So when did that sort of come about?
Well, I can't remember now. It was long. It was a while back.
Yeah.
I think it all ended in around 2012. From like 2007, 2006 to 2012, something like that.
Right.
That was the period.
And what was the? I've never actually heard any of the Paris Riots. What was the vibe of that sort of thing?
It's an enigma really, because we were great live. We were a really good live band, and there's only maybe one song we recorded that really captured that. I think the energy that we had, or maybe two songs. Yeah, well, it was a band that I started with my brother Toby. He's my younger brother, and he was the singer. I was a guitar player.
Right.
You know Scottie, who was in Giant Boys. We were in Giant Boys together. Scottie was the drummer.
I didn't know Scottie was in that. Right.
Yeah, Scottie was the drummer, man.
Right.
Scottie's an amazing drummer, man.
Really?
Yeah.
No
I mean,
idea.
he probably couldn't play now. Like. No, he could.
Right.
He's great. He was always. And when I met Scottie, I met him. I started working in a bar when I first moved to Manchester, and I said, I'm looking for a drummer because I'm forming a band. And someone said, oh, Scottie plays the drums. And the literally moment I met him, I said, do you want to be in a band? Like, do you want to drum in a band? And we're like, yeah. And then it was only about 2 years later that he admitted to me that he'd only really ever played drums a couple of times when he was like in school, and that he couldn't actually play. But for some reason, I always knew he could play, and so did he. And
Right.
I remember when we first started playing, we all couldn't play that well, but we just gelled, and it kind of grew from there.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful, amazing thing that happened, that band. It took us to a lot of places. I mean, we went to LA. We played Benicassim Festival like 4 times. Yeah, we experienced a lot of things that you experience in like a successful band,
Right.
which was amazing.
Yeah.
Alas, it wasn't meant to be though.
Was it a bit
It was like
band drama?
What
it was
happened?
the one that got away, you know. It was one of those relationships.
Yeah.
Well, many things happened, and there was a lot of things, and you know, siblings in a band is never easy. You know, I can say this right now that Liam and Noel are not faking it. You know what I mean? There is that tension between siblings in bands, which didn't help at the time. But there was loads of things, you know. I mean, and I remember Scottie got married at that point and had kids as well. People growing up, you know, you start the band when you were young, and then you grow up. And I think if things have happened quicker in terms of opportunities, we might have been in a different place. But yeah, it just went the way it was. But we were at the point where things were starting to happen, like for us,
Right. Yeah.
in quite a good way, in quite a big way, and we just couldn't stay together long enough for that to kind of come off.
Yeah.
I think if there'd have been some, if it had come off, and then there'd maybe been a bit of cash involved, everyone may have gone, you know what, we can
work through this.
We can put all the shit in a box and just kind of continue and you know, do a few tours, do a record or two or whatever. But no, it didn't come to pass, and but it was a great time. We had a great time. We did some shit, man. Did some good shit.
And then what was the next thing after that? Would like how soon? I mean, Giant Boys is fairly
Yeah.
recent,
Well, I mean, there was a
really?
bit of a wilderness period after that. It was, you know, it's like there was 10 years of I gave my whole 20s really and early 30s to that band, and then when it ends, we tried to go. My brother was the lead singer, and he left, and we tried to kind of continue with me being the singer. But I just didn't really know how to sing properly then, and luckily, the plug was pulled before we did any gigs, and that was Scottie actually, And thank you, Scottie. He kind of went, you know what, this is sounding shit. Like, and it was sounding shit. I mean, we had the songs that we were writing the songs we were writing were good, but I just wasn't good enough to pull things off live.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You know, you've got to kind of cut your teeth being a singer. You've got to put the hours in. You've got to do the time to get the muscles, to get everything, you know, to learn how to sing.
Yeah.
And I was only ever doing BVs in the band prior to that. So suddenly trying to sing and play the guitar as well. And so we kind of it petered out. Toby left, and then we kind of carried on for a little bit, put out one tune, and then called it a day. And I'm glad that we did. So we kind of sealed that in a nice way, that experience, that thing. And then after that, it was a bit of a wilderness period, because it was hard to get. It was hard, you know, because at one point you're like, you know, this is happening. You know, I'm in a rock band, and we're getting driven about in Mercs, and we're staying in hotels in LA and recording and doing these things and meeting these people, and it was great. And then it all kind of ended. So yeah, kind of took a few years out, and then me and Scottie kind of just got chatting one day, and just that urge again, just to keep writing, to keep making music. So we then the Giant Boys happened between me and him, which was great, because I always wanted to. For me, the Paris Riots was great, but it was never heavy enough for me. It was never like, I always wanted it to be heavier.
Yeah.
I guess we just didn't capture it right, and I wasn't probably writing the tunes. And then what me and Scottie did subsequently was
having it.
Nicely.
Having it.
Yeah. So I like, it was great to just go like, you know, really, really.
Yeah. That was about. I saw you guys at Band on the Wall ages ago. I think it was with Creature Comforts.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it Band on the Wall? I don't know.
No, sorry, not Band on the Wall. Not Gulliver's either.
Eagle.
Castle?
Was it not the Eagle?
No, I don't think it was Eagle.
I don't know.
Anyway,
we played, but we played more than one gig together.
We haven't. Yeah. We did a few.
Yeah,
didn't we?
it was you guys are headlining, and you were maybe second.
Oh,
spot.
that
Is that at the Castle? They all blend one, don't they?
I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway,
It's all the same,
one of those
isn't it?
Northern Quarter venues, and you were definitely having it. It was today.
Yeah.
It was so full on. I love that kind of music, man.
Yeah, and it was just nice to just like let your hair down and just
totally.
and like we did suit right. Me and Scottie did do a project, and we should revisit it. And we called it Illegal Beef, and we did. The whole kind of ethos of this was we were just kind of doing like really heavy kind of techno. A lot of it was like dead heavy techno stuff.
Oh, right.
Like we did this one tune, and we called it Japan, and it was nothing to do with Japan or the Japanese people. But the whole song just said fuck all the way through it, really hard, like fuck. And I just remember at the time we would just I said to him, let's make something that's just really disgusting, like that will really insult your senses. Like there's something quite freeing about just making something horrible.
Yeah.
And then in that process, you kind of come out with something kind of good as well, you know.
Yeah, I think anything that frees you up, definitely.
Yeah, I guess that's punk, innit? That's what punk music is and was.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kind of going, you know,
Fuck it.
Yeah, I'm going to be horrible, and then end up being beautiful.
Yeah. But it's just breaking the rules, isn't it? Because then you realise how many like habits you've got that you like stick to. Like you stick to them as if that's the only way it can be.
Yeah.
So if you literally, so for a while you think you have to go the other way, and you're literally like, fuck everything. I'm just gonna do whatever I want, and then you start discovering new rules. So like,
and then when you've gone out that far, you can then come back to where you feel at home. And kind of probably find.
There's a new path in the process, and it's just another branch in the tree, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go out searching, and then you rein it back in, and there's another little string you can put on. You know, I think I love Giant Boys, and I think I love it more just because I got to see like a little bit of the process.
What do you mean?
Well, just like how you two would approach doing stuff, because obviously we worked in Blueprint Studios together.
Yes.
And I would see you and Scottie in some very interesting states whilst you were
states of inspiration.
inspiration, very high inspiration.
Hard working.
Yes. I just thought, I don't know. I thought it was weird because I'd see that and I'd hear the finished product. And I'm like, oh, I really want to know what's happening like in the room. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like obviously you guys would get nice and loose or whatever, and like was it just like you just in terms of like when you're writing stuff, where you just like you just bash them out and see what happens, and you sort of go from there, or what was the kind of
the term throwing a load of shit at the wall and see what sticks was our motto, definitely. Yeah, but I remember the first time we ever did Giant Boys, we'd been used to the previous incarnation of the Paris Riots. So in a sense, Scottie was a drummer,
right?
I was a guitar player and kind of a singer.
Yeah.
So the first session we had was Scottie on a drum kit and me on like doing like a Black Keys kind of thing. But of course, you always just start playing stoner rock, like like Black Keys. You start playing big riffs and which is great. But we wanted to do something else.
Yeah.
Because we'd done that in the Paris Riots, and so we binned off the drum kit. We just started using software for drums, and I remember I think it was the second session that we ever had, and Scottie was like, "Let me do a vocal." I was like, "Yeah, mint," and he at one point just started screaming, and I was like, "Yeah, this is it. This is it. This is it.
This is it."
And he suddenly then became the singer because it wasn't the roles weren't determined.
Right.
We just wanted to. The MO was just make something heavy and cool and like just heavy and good. You know, a heavy record.
Yeah.
And and then he started just going for it, and then we got then a working. The thing is the Giant Boys have got a very kind of a strict formula. You know, we do things very the same every time, and it works.
In terms of the creation of stuff.
Yeah, it's just kind of like, excuse me, spend
Sorry, I'm on.
in the studio, just go in, get a beat. Scottie will just generally just do whatever he wants. Then I'll kind of put a bass line in the key that he's singing in.
Yeah.
And then a guitar will come on, and then and then after that it's all just editing. Then do you know what I mean? Chopping and changing and creating loops and stuff like that. But it was such a an eye-opening time creatively, because we were working with like loops, chopping stuff up, and the melodies and riffs you get by doing that on Pro Tools, you would never get in real life.
Yeah,
and we always said to each other, this would take months to create if you were just in a room full of guys, or you may never get to this.
Yeah.
It was like we spend a couple of hours putting a load of stuff down, and then we go, okay, let's just loop that bar. Wow, that's a riff. That's it.
Right, yeah.
Put that out, put a beat to that, then put another vocal to it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a completely different way of working.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and there's still merit to it, isn't it? It's not like cheating or anything. It kind of feels like cheating sometimes when you do it.
I would have thought that years ago. I was a purist. It's like,
right,
can't cut two takes together. No way. Like, it's got to be one take.
Yeah,
because it's the romance of the one take in the studio, right?
It's that thing,
yeah, definitely.
But now it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, because it's about the end product.
It doesn't matter as long as it sounds good. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, for the people at home that haven't heard Giant Boys, maybe just pause the podcast.
Play it to your mum.
Play it to your mum.
Play it to your nan.
She'll love it.
Play it to your gran.
She'll love it. She'll love it. It's just fucking Scottie's vocals on it are just so
amazing.
Just like, do you know what I mean?
It's really good.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know if he did it on every gig, but there was one gig where he painted like a smiley face on his belly.
That was the only time.
I enjoyed
it should have been. It
lot.
should have become a thing.
Yeah, definitely.
If we ever do another gig, it should definitely paint more of his body.
Yeah, I think so too, man. It certainly added.
Less clothes, more paint.
Do you know Viagra Boys?
Yes.
I don't. It's a different vibe, but probably coming from a similar kind of place.
Very similar, yeah.
In terms of like
Yeah,
like a kind of fuck you mentality in the music.
Yeah.
I
mean,
literally love that so much, man.
Yeah.
I think definitely they were a definite influence at the time, and idols as well at the time, and slaves as well.
Yeah.
There was that boom of like post-punk at the time when that 2017 or whatever, which I think still is very much
still happening.
Yeah,
isn't it, man?
and Shame as well, and and John Times 2 that I mentioned earlier.
I'm gonna check them out.
And it's still very much like in the mix in things nowadays.
I think so, man.
But I think it was definitely like I don't know, in my view, I'll say this to cover myself, in my view, because I'm no music aficionado in terms of the scenes, but I think that the post-punk was a definite rebirth of, the guitars and people just thrashing about, making noise and being successful as well,
Yeah, and I always feel like whenever these like waves of that stuff come, it's a reaction to something. Do you know what I mean? Like having like a sort of hyper-produced pop thing for so long, it's only so long until someone wants to react to that in a different way and bounce back in that way. But it's almost inevitable in a way.
But the thing is, for me, I know, and I can speak for Scottie in saying this, is that we both kind of just love it all, and that was our thing. We love listening to the new Kanye West stuff, and like love listening to Frank Ocean, and then love listening to something really dirty and heavy, and just appreciate it all. And just having love for it all, you know what I mean? And then, you embrace it. And then I think, I don't see any point in kind of trying to separate yourself and go, oh, well, wear this and, fuck anyone else that doesn't like this. And I used to be like that when I was younger. I used to be like, if you don't listen to rock and roll music, I don't even want to know you.
Yeah.
Which is the, the lack of wisdom of youth.
So, Guy, we go from Giant Boys, and then, of course, the reason that you're here, right? Apart from obviously,
it's to get a free Corona, mate.
Yeah, that's the reason. I did put that in the rider. That's your one. You just get one, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So obviously you're doing your own stuff, and you're gonna be doing some of that today.
Yeah.
What are you going to be performing for us today?
I'm going to do 3 songs, and they're all really new. One's brand new, world exclusive. Never played it before.
Whoa, you heard it here first.
World exclusive. Well, I've been. I just started making. I just started putting live videos of me playing out because I enjoyed that, and I just thought it was a nice, less boring way to listen to music if you could watch the person playing it.
Yeah, man.
I've only got one camera, so there's no different angles or all that. It's pretty basic, but I really enjoy making the videos. But what it did was allow me. I mean, I've been writing for years, so I've got a big stockpile, and there's a lot of songs that would probably never ever see the light of day. Especially the more intricate, slow piano songs or really kind of sad songs or whatever. You think, well, I don't need to record that. I don't need to make that into a record.
Yeah.
So it's been a really freeing experience, just to put them out. And I've been doing it weekly and just putting songs out weekly. And I've loved doing it because I've just been able, I just got fed up of sat on all this material that a lot of the songs, and I really love a lot. I love all the songs that I've done, and it's just a nice way to put it out. And what that then led to was me to start writing loads because I was just in 2020 just was sat at home just with the guitar, just going, okay, well, I'll start learning to play some of these songs that I've written, and then you learn to play them, and then they become other things, and then from that you write more. So this year I think by the end of the year I'll have released probably nearly 30 songs. New songs.
Yeah, that's really.
And probably half of them were written in the summertime. Just gone.
Okay.
So
it is all
not
pretty
even
new
old stuff.
Right. Okay.
So tonight, I'll play 3 tunes. They're all pretty new. One's very new. 2, I think the first one is called Sparrows, and I wrote that kind of the beginning of the summer this year.
Right.
The next one is called, what's it called?
You could tell it. You could say it.
Out of practice.
Out of practice.
That was written like midsummer, and then the last one is called Reconcile This,
Right.
and that was written a few weeks ago.
Right. So it's fresh, man. It's fresh
Very
off
fresh.
the press.
Yes.
Delightful.
Very
Well,
fresh.
you know what, man? Should we hear some of this?
Should we do it?
That's it.
So you go and get yourself ready, man, and then the audience will be with you shortly.
Thank you. All right.
You go and you fuck off, mate. Off
All
you
right.
go. Off you fuck. Well, I hope you're all enjoying the discussion thus far. Guys, just going to go and get ready in the performance area. How's your writing and stuff going on, Matt?
That's good, man. I'm writing lyrics like a crazy person right now.
Oh,
which
yeah?
And you're doing the same thing with poetry.
I
well.
am, yes.
Yeah, it's funny that we're both doing the same kind of thing. I basically get like a warning. I've been talking to I think, like Anna about this ages ago, on the podcast, and I get this like 3-second warning in my head, like I need to start writing something.
Oh,
So I do
interesting.
it all on notes. So it's just like endless notes now.
Yeah.
And usually I'll kind of do it all in like an evening. Like probably last night I probably spent like an hour when I went to bed, just like writing. And just like total like stream of consciousness.
Oh, nice.
And I go back through it and I'm like, okay, that's cool. That can stay. like
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
whether
yeah.
a lot of it is I'm just getting used to thinking more about like sounds of words as well, and just kind of what I'm looking for out of the sound of syllables and things, and what
That's
words I'm
interesting.
gravitating to. Yeah, I think
Right.
there's definitely something about like you can ride a whole like chorus hook just on the sound of certain words just being really strong. So
Right.
this is what I'm going down a rabbit hole for sure.
No, that's
I'm
cool,
really,
man.
really enjoying it.
I think I'm kind of doing the same stuff with the poetry. It's like stream of consciousness, in a way. Well, then I just keep going through and then going back and like that shit, take that out and sort of refine it. I don't know what I'm doing
Yeah, neither do I.
in terms of that. I don't know like if any of it's for an intention or a purpose. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be. Like,
Well, that's
I'm
it,
the
isn't
same.
it?
Like, I don't know whether, like, how much I'll release my thing or whether I'll just do it and have it there to show to people if they ask, kind of.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But it might end up becoming a new career. Like, there's no point even adding any kind of
Yeah,
story
there's no
to
point
it.
in labeling.
No,
anything.
it's just that the first thing is like, if you feel inspired to do it, then just don't let anything stop you, because there's obviously something going on behind the scenes. I think there's subconscious making
I
you
think
want to.
I just want to do it, and like when I feel compelled and I want to write something for the people that I love, I'll do that and I'll give it to them because it's a nice thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's as far as it's going. for me
Yeah,
at the moment.
totally. Yeah, and just enjoy that. That's cool. Yeah, and it's still that's still like enriching people's lives, isn't it? Just by creating it.
And even though like, I don't know if it's good or not. Do you know what I mean? Because it's always that thing of, like it's my
Subjective,
own, it's my own
Yeah.
shit. So you look at it and you're like,
I know, because it came to you naturally, so you presume it like
it can't be that anything special.
yeah, or like
Yeah.
no one else. You think everyone could have done that, but the only reason you can do it is because of your life experience. I have that all the time, man. I'll literally constantly be like playing chords at piano or working out guitar parts or thinking of like of melodies, and I'll be like, that felt so easy to me that I feel like it must be ripped off, or it must be like nothing in particular, because it's just the first thing I gravitated towards. So I think you do have to get good at telling yourself that it's only easy for you, like whatever you're writing at the moment. So it's only natural for you, and to other people, it's because you think it's easy. You also think it's like predictable, because it was really predictable for you to do, because it all came out in one go, right?
Yeah,
So I think, that must have been like the first thing anyone would have come up with, but it's
individual,
still
isn't it?
surprising.
It's
Yeah,
yours,
even when I read that one poem that you did, I was still surprised by a lot of it, if you know what I mean, in a good way.
I'm surprised
how much it sucked.
how crap it was.
Exactly.
We'll see, man. I
Yeah.
don't know. I might put some of the ones out that I've already done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, Mike Walker, one of the greatest guitarists ever, but let's face it, he was writing poetry until his 60s and never showed them to anyone, and just started posting them on Facebook, and that was it. You know, and the reason why he never showed anyone, which I find hilarious, is because he was so insecure about it. No, he just like had that thing of he doesn't think it's very good. It's not really for anyone, and he's an actual creative genius. You know, so I think it's really funny that if someone like himself has put pressure there, then no one else has a reason to. Do you know what I mean? Because like, why is he like having a hang up about anything creative?
And he's an absolute fucking G.
Yeah, exactly.
I would love to get Mike Walker on the podcast.
We definitely should.
That's like my goal for this year.
Yeah.
He's the next.
If you can pin him down.
If I can pin him down,
he's
man.
like Yoda, isn't he? I feel like he's on some
very elusive,
distant planet right now.
I feel like maybe what I'll do is because he does them counselling sessions, doesn't he? Maybe I'll go and do a counselling session with him.
Yeah.
Even though there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
Although I'll get there and be like,
yeah, exactly. He'll see right through you.
and then I can poach him.
Yeah.
And it'll be fine, man.
Definitely.
How we looking over there, chaps? Oh, they were they're saying keep going. What are you doing there, boys? Oh, right, okay. Okay, well, that's fine. Oh, that's very interesting. Okay, well, don't worry about it too much. Anyway, I'm very much looking forward to listening to Guys. Have you heard some of Guys' songs before?
You showed me something ages ago.
Yeah, it's lovely, man.
Yeah,
it's really nice.
Definitely.
Just like Americana, kind of just straight up stuff.
Yeah.
It's good shit, man.
The genre crossing.
Yeah, man. Well, and I hope you people at home, I don't know what camera we're on, so I'm going to assume we're looking at the wide camera. Remember that one? It's a bit chaotic in it. There's a lot of people in here tonight, isn't there?
It's a full house.
Yeah, I hope that you enjoy Guy's music tonight. Definitely go and check out his band, Giant Boys, because they're great. They're definitely worth watching live when they start playing live again. And Guy's stuff's just beautiful anyway. He's a beautiful soul.
Really is.
Like a beautiful flower.
He's a wise old bird.
He is, man. He's like been a bit of a guru for me for like quite a while. Just like, you know, there was a lot of times where I was in a lot of shit and Guy sorted me out, man. People are ready over there. Okay, so I think Guy's ready over there. So we're going to go to a quick little ad break and then we'll head over to the live performance with Guy Connor. So we'll see you in about a minute or so. Goodbye.
Bye.
Hello, and welcome to the Kicking Back Podcast.
I will always be your harbor, where your tide of windless sails. Just throw a rope and I will catch it. Step up down over the rail. They say no good deeds uncounted, there are no loving words on earth. Every fallen sparrow noted. So I'm listening now, my girl. Just la 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 next to me, darling. La 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 next to me, dear. I know life can be alarming, but for now it's quiet here. Yeah. I don't think I understand it. I don't think I'm needed to. I know what you seek, you'll find it when the time is right for you. Just la 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 next to me, darling. La 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 next to me, dear. I know life can be alarming, but for now it's quiet here. Just la 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 next to me, darling. La 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 next to me, dear. I know life can be disarming, But for now it's quiet here. But for now it's quiet here. But for now it's quiet here.
Very good, very good. Do I just play the other one straight away?
Yeah, man.
All right. This one's called Out of Practice. I'll play that bit slower.
From the top to the bottom of this class, every night on my own I sit and ask, is there still a place now for us, love? Is it a place you're thinking of? But I guess that the fact is that I'm just out of practice. Yeah, I guess that the fact is I'm out of practice in love. I won't let this get me down, 'cause I got 2 eyes to look around. All of the signs, they're always there, blinking at me just as I stare, saying the fact is I'm out of practice. Yeah, the fact is I'm out of practice now. Yeah, the fact is I'm out of practice. I'm out of practice in love, but I will learn again. I will give again. And maybe I'll see you when I turn around. Yeah, I will learn again. I will give again. And maybe I'll see you when I turn around. Right now the fact is I'm out of practice. Yeah, the fact is I'm out of practice, girl. Yeah, the fact is I'm out of practice. I'm out of practice in love. I'm out of practice in love. I'm out of practice in love.
Thank you.
Making promises to myself that I know I'll break. Time and time again now every day. Cause there's half of me that's yearning for a way to heal. Yet the other half don't wanna feel. But I can reconcile this. I can reconcile this. I know I can, I know I can. I know I can, I know I can. Shaking every tree inside, just hoping something falls. And a new distraction from it all. Every part of me that's yearning for a way to heal, like an insect to the brightest light. But I can reconcile this, I can reconcile this. I know I can, I know I can. I know I can, I know I can, yeah. And I'm done lying to myself, staring at this glass as though it's just some kind of wishing well. And I'm done losing, always losing track, being led astray. I'm gonna tie myself into the mast. I reconcile this, I can reconcile this. I know I can, I know I can. I know I can, I know I can. Yeah, we can reconcile this, we can reconcile this. I know we can, I know we can. I know we can, I know we can.
Thank you.
All right. Guy, where can people find your shit online?
Yeah, just type in Guy Connor on Google, it'll all come up. It does generally. It's cool. The handles are like at Guy Connor generally. Guy Connor Music, Guy Connor. Peace. Thank you.
Enjoying what you see so far? Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Rec Rooms, and hit that subscribe and bell button. We're putting out new live sessions and podcasts every week for you to discover new artists. If you're out and about, you can also subscribe and listen to all our podcasts in all good podcasting places. We've just opened our brand new merch store over at etsy.com. You can buy yourself some delightful Kicking Back Podcast t-shirts, jumpers, mugs, stickers, and much more. We're going to be keeping this store up to date with new merch all the time, so head on down to etsy.com/shop/Rec Rooms to get yourself some sweet new threads. Anyway, that's enough from me. Time to get on with the show. See you in a sec. Hello and welcome back to episode 40 of the Kicking Back podcast. You just heard some delightful music from our guest today, Guy Connor. Well done, Guy.
Yeah, it was beautiful, man. It's so nice.
Thank you.
They loved it. They loved it.
Bless you. Thank you.
That was great, man.
Bless you all.
Yeah.
So, Guy, I'm going to ask you a little bit about the songs that you played and what.
Sorry, I just got a text from Scottish Power there.
Oh, was it an important?
Meter readings, mate.
Oh, okay, very important. Yeah. So tell me about, take me through each song, what it's kind of about, or you know.
What I just played then?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and like the writing process as well.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Everything, Guy. All things.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm a very, I'm very into spirituality, and I think spirituality is kind of the wrong term for really what it is.
Yeah.
It's a very, I'm kind of into ways to live your life without the least amount of suffering, right?
Okay.
Like, give yourself an easy time through life.
Yeah.
And a lot of spiritual teachings are very practical. They're kind of the opposite to what people kind of deem them to be, you know, like it's like learning practically about how to use your mind, how your mind affects your body and stuff like that. So I'm into and kind of reading about very like more esoteric concepts that are not particularly widely accepted, I guess, by at least the Western world, but in more Eastern places they are, right?
Yeah.
Elaborate a little bit. What sort of things?
Well, even just mindfulness, right? You know about mindfulness.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like, it's just kind of, mindfulness is like dead practical, just a generally basic way of of learning about how your mind works, how the human brain works.
Yeah.
The ways in which we all think, the ways in which we all behave naturally, and then how to become aware of that and then kind of choose different ways to be. And also knowing that you also have more control than you think you have over everything, right? And it's kind of like mental hygiene, right? You know, like if you don't have a shower for 6 weeks, you're gonna get some nasty shit going off, right? So if you don't kind of clean up mentally, you know, if you don't keep that, if you don't have that awareness, then you can become in a very bad place, right? So stuff that's considered like woo-woo and all this, you know, is, in my experience, when I've read into it and lived it, it's not. It's just like a guidebook.
Yeah, man.
It's a guidebook for how your mind works. It's like your brain is like a supercomputer, right?
Yeah.
And so you need to know how your computer works to use it effectively and to have it serve you in the best way. And it's the same with your brain. It's the same with your body. So I can't believe that I just said all that in the introduction to what the song's about. Those songs are not about those things.
Yeah.
But they are about things I've learned and maybe things that I'm learning to learn in my endeavors to learn about things about the mind, about the soul, about, you know, just information that's out there that allows you, you know, like there's very old information by people who are generally amazing people, like, you know, like the Dalai Lama and stuff. That guy looks chilled, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's not going to be. He's not going to be getting anxiety or being stressed after work on a day. He's going to be chilled, and it's like, so what does that guy know that I don't know? And that's the kind of that's kind of the motivation. It's just, well, let me learn some of that, and that's what I love to do. I love to read about things like that and learn things about that. So the first song, Sparrows, is has a few things. I like to just put a few lines in of things that mean things to me that might be helpful for other people on a subconscious level or even a conscious level. Stuff like, I'm trying to think about the line now of the songs. They say no, there's a line in, they say no good word goes uncounted. So there's a genuine belief in many Eastern philosophies that there is a general intelligence and a mass consciousness of the whole human race, and everything has an energy to it. Even thought and word has energy to it, and there is an intelligent, infinite consciousness, which you would call God, I guess.
Yeah.
That kind of recognizes all of this. So anytime, any act of kindness that you do in your life, any word you say, any thank you you say, any help that you make, you know, even if I just push that teapot closer to you, mate, if you want to make a brew, is kind of recognized and noted and stored in the mass consciousness. And I just thought that was a beautiful concept. So I wrote the line, you know, no good word goes uncounted. You know, there's no, and that, you know, everything we do is kind of, you know, sometimes a lot of people that are trying to do good things may come to that point. Well, why am I doing this? You know, what's the point? You know, you can look at the world in a dark place and think, well, why am I bothering? You know, if everyone's, you know, if people are killing each other, going, well, why am I trying to do this? But if you look at it from a point of view, well, it's all kind of noted and appreciated, and it will come then back to you in a good way, like as the, you know, like karma. You know?
Yeah.
And I believe that. I mean, like if you do a good turn for someone, it's going to come back to you.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're going to keep being horrible to people or being angry at people, you're going to get that, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to be nice to people, you're going to get that. And
Yeah, definitely.
so,
Yeah.
Sparrows was kind of written at a time when I was reading a lot of things like that. And what other song? Oh, yeah, Out of Practice. Out of Practice is the next song, which is about the opposite of that, is being in a place where you don't feel connected to that. You don't feel connected to the greater good, if we will. When you feel... It was written at a time when I was kind of, you know, just being very hedonistic. And for me, hedonism is great and it's fun, but if you do it for an extended period of time, it kind of cuts you off from a lot of important, essential emotions, essential connections with, if you believe in that greater conscious, with that, you kind of cut yourself off. You become cold.
Yeah.
And you become kind of insular and very kind of, fuck you, I'm me and fuck everyone else. And I don't think that's ever a good place to be in. So the song says, I'm out of practice in love. And I'm talking about love in a sense of being connected, you know, to something that's greater than me, to something that's better than me. You know what I mean? And then because I'm caning it all the time, I'm not, you know.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then the last song, Reconcile This, which is brand new, that and I think I fluffed up some lyrics in it tonight.
Oh, you shouldn't have said that, guy, because they never would have known.
No, but know this, know that I fluffed that up. Because I will be putting it out properly. So
okay, so it's a disclaimer.
if anyone is bothered enough to compare the two, that's kind of, I guess, the amalgamation of both is finding a balance, you know, reconciliation between, because there's a line in that that says, there's a part of me that wants to heal, and then there's another part that doesn't even want to feel, doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know, part of me that wants to explore this spiritual world in terms of, you know, finding a way to live better. And then there's part of me that just wants to just go into oblivion and get completely smashed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And it's finding a balance in between it. And I think balance is very important.
Yeah.
Because I don't think you should just, like, you know, like Dalai Lama, he probably doesn't snort MDMA on the Saturday night.
Oh, you don't know, man.
He might do that.
He might do.
He might do.
Maybe that's why.
But whatever he's doing, he's finding a balance. And I think you have to find a balance to find peace.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean?
I think everyone's like, I kind of, for ages thought like, oh, I found this amazing solution, like mindfulness, and like try to like, not preach it to other people, but like, this has really helped me. And you do realize that one piece doesn't fit every person. Every person's different. Every person's balance is different as well. Which I'm learning as well. It's just like, it's a process, isn't it? It's sort of trying different things. I've always thought, like, you know, you've helped me so much. Like, I remember there's so many times where I was feeling like shit or didn't know what to do, and I'd chat to you and you'd fucking sort me right out, man. Seriously. And you kind of were the catalyst that started my journey of like figuring out who I was and stuff. Like, you sorted me out, man. You did sort me out.
Can we hug?
Yeah, come on, then.
Thank you. Mate, I didn't know that. That's amazing. Amazing.
That's nice.
I remember Brad talking to me about it as well.
Definitely,
because I remember it was like you were going to move to Berlin and you had all these mad plans.
I did.
I've stopped you going to Berlin.
Yeah, you fucked me off, man. No, but like, you know, it was at a time where I didn't know who I was, and you kind of you said certain things, you like pointed towards certain things. You know, a lot of it was just like, look at what you've actually got, look at what's here, and then you spoke to me about like sort of the mentality, the sort of this spiritual thing. And I didn't get it then.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And now looking back on it, I see like how valuable it was. And it
That's
really,
amazing. That's beautiful.
It really started like this journey. And now I'm just like, I don't know, I just think back to those like certain times. I'm like, fucking hell, thank God that I fucking met Guy Connor and like, you know, started that thing.
That's made my year. That's amazing.
Well, I thought he'd tell you, man, because you know it really did fucking it helped me a lot, man.
Well, you know, I think, yeah, I think that's great. That's, yeah. I'm going. It's beautiful. That's great.
It is, man, and you know it's that thing of it. Connection is so important now. I realise, and when I say connection, for me anyway, it's presence. It's pure presence.
Yeah.
And genuinely listen to people. And I've said this a few times on the podcast, like, you know, because I think there was a bit of a crossover period where we started the podcast and I was chatting to you about some things. And then there was a sort of a moment of, you know, clarity. And that was also becoming aware of being present and this sort of being aware of that the thought in my head wasn't me. You know, I thought that was me. And then applying that, even just like say in the context of the podcast, like I would just genuinely start listening to people, pure listening. Not like, because before it was just like, right, what am I going to ask them next? And I better think of something, otherwise it's going to be really embarrassing. And you know, as soon as I was like, no, not listen to that, just listening purely, the reaction was so different from the other person. That they would just like open up.
Yeah, they feel that. They feel that.
They do, and and the thing is like, from a like material, like physical level, like you can look at me and I can look like I'm not thinking about anything, and I could be going through all sorts of crazy shit in my head.
Yeah.
But there is something, isn't there?
Yeah.
Because even though physically I don't look any different,
well,
there's an attentiveness that you notice, isn't there? There's something that happens.
Well, the Eckhart Tolle, a guy called Eckhart Tolle, who teaches present awareness, mind. He's one of the greats.
Yeah.
I mean, check him out on YouTube.
Definitely.
He talks about listening with your whole body, like, and especially to a loved one, you know, to your girlfriend or to your parents or to your brother or sister, whatever, someone you really care about. When they're talking to you, give them the love by listening with your whole body, with your whole being. Listen to them and listen to what they have to say and be there with them, because that's giving great love. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a really amazing thing to try and test out, and with your mates, with anyone. I remember Russell Brand. I'm a big Russell Brand fan.
I like Russell Brand.
Yeah, his Eckhart Tolle thing's great as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm on his podcast tomorrow night. and he talks a lot about when he does interviews, like big interviews with American chat show hosts and stuff like that. He I can't remember quite how he describes it, but it's something like he imagines like from his heart to their heart, like a rainbow bridge, or a bridge of light between his heart and their heart. And that's how he listens to them. That's how he conducts the interview, with that frame of reference, with that, you know, with that perspective, where he's just listening to them with his whole body, with his whole being, with his whole heart, and he's giving to them everything. And one thing I've learned is, you know, everything is energy, everything is frequency, energy, vibration, and emotions are energy in motion. That's what they are. And thoughts are electrical frequencies, energy that, and so when you do project those thoughts onto someone, they're gonna subconsciously be receiving that energy. You know?
Yeah.
If you're, you know, if you're hating someone, they're gonna feel it in some way. And if you're loving someone, they're gonna feel it in some way. You know what I mean? And it's important. I just becoming aware of more of this stuff, like metaphysically in a quantum way as well. Just you know how it does affect people, how it does affect you. and being more conscious of that,
Yeah, definitely. I think that the huge thing I realized, like, because over lockdown, I literally got to the point because I was just like so like on my own, like more than most people would realize. So I wanted to work out what it was all about, and like literally for like months and months, I was like, what's the point? Basically, that was the question I kept coming back to. Like, I'm here, but there's got to be some greater point that I'm missing here behind it all. Because before that, I was always like expecting things to make me happy, like.
And what did you find?
Musical, nothing ever lasted. Like if it was like a recital and I was like, if everyone tells me I'm amazing, then I can tell myself I'm amazing. That'll be it. Never lasted more than a few hours, and then it just drifts off, and then like shit, now I need more again. I was like, I want more money, like, and you can earn it, and it doesn't do anything, or So I was looking for a bigger answer, and after a while, I got into a really really good place with it because I realized it just isn't one. The why is not a question you can really ask. Like it just is. Like life is the way it is. Like it's not perfect. No one ever said it was, but the key thing is you can. You have so much more control, and you're basically creating your own world. Like, I mean, in one sense, scientifically, you are, because it's all like kind of dreamt up within your mind, isn't it? Like everything that you take in, your brain makes sense of it, and it forms patterns and relationships, and it predicts from there, and it's going to be like the best observation it can make at that particular moment, and then so that's your world in one sense. But then you can choose to create a better world from that. Like you said, you have way more power than you think.
Yeah,
and you can actually be the like this kind of bright spark, rather than the thing that, if I was there over lockdown, like feeling miserable, like I'm so on my own here, this is terrible. But from that, I ended up just going out and just talking to people. Really, really weird. But the more I would talk to people, and the happier I felt, the more I'd get back. And so I realized I'm actually literally creating this right now just by
you can
my
choose.
attitude.
You can choose how you want your
how
reality
you want
to be.
Yeah, but there's pretty much like, it's kind of weird to say, but there's almost only one reality, because there's only like one kind of observation ever being made. Do you know what I mean? Like you are, as far as you're aware, you're the only reality. So like that's kind of like a big responsibility in a weird way.
Yeah, man.
But also through that as an option, like make it really good. Then like what excuse do you not have to make it as like loving and caring as possible? And I think it's so interesting to think about that kind of thing.
Yeah, you can get up in the morning and you can think about all what I've not done or what I've got to do, or but you have the power to to change your thought. You have the power of focus and attention. That from what I've been learning, that's the key. Like, we have the power to focus our consciousness on whatever we want. And like animals or plants don't have that power, We have that power to consciously focus on things. So why wouldn't you consciously focus on good shit, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
don't don't get up and switch on the news and focus on, I don't know what Brexit's doing, or I don't even know what's going off. Boris Johnson. Don't focus on Boris Johnson, man. He's got his own shit to deal with.
Yeah, man.
Focus on the nice, the nice cup of coffee, the nice beer, if that's how you wake up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Those, and it's like that's not like really crazy weird shit. That's that's practical advice.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't think about bad things. Think about good things. Don't be horrible to people. Be nice to people.
Yeah,
and that's like the base of all spiritual teaching.
Yeah.
But the word spirituality, the word even the word mindfulness,
gets a bad rap.
Yeah, because people think, fuck that. And I remember when I used to be like, I mean, that book, The Secret, about the law of attraction, manifestation.
Yeah.
I remember it was my parents that read that, and they went, "You should read this." And I just went, "Nah, it's a load of hippie shite." I had that kind of stigma about it.
Yeah.
And even I would have felt the same way about mindfulness. But the thing is the more I looked into it, the more really practical it was, and the more it made sense than anything else I'd been taught. So yeah, I'm very into that.
Yeah,
definitely, man.
I think the weird thing as well is obviously like life is really challenging. So for me, sometimes I feel kind of, it's like, it's easy for me to say like focus on mindfulness and stuff. But I think no matter what happens, like even if life becomes really really challenging, it could only help.
Yeah,
that's to take on things, and then it starts with education. Like, and I was talking to my friend Rowan about this, and there is so much better education about it in school. Like workshops about mental health and mindfulness, all these things are already happening. Even like having the kids act out certain moods and discussing it, and so it's so interesting, isn't it? But
just to, I'm sorry to if I interrupted you. Chris Haddon, do a shout out to Chris Haddon.
Oh
man.
yeah,
And,
yeah. He's all about that.
He does a he calls it mini mindfulness, and
I love it.
he teaches mindfulness to kids in schools, man, and like it's literally a guidebook to just how your mind works. You know, like the thing is as human beings, the way our brain works is, you know, it's called the negativity bias. We're programmed to always look for what's wrong, and to see, because it's a survival mechanism. So back in the Stone Age or whatever, you're in a jungle and you're consciously looking out for
predators,
saber-toothed tigers, or you know, whatever that's going to kill you. So your brain's constantly going, what's wrong? What can I do that's better? You know, how can I fix this? You know, and that instinct has stayed with us. And now we live in a life where there is no immediate threat physically, but your brain's constantly looking for stuff that's wrong. So instead you go, well, what's wrong with me? Why aren't I good enough? You know, what if, you know, I fluffed up that verse? What if whoever was watching this podcast now thinks I'm shit? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It sounds kind of petty when you say it out loud, but also...
but it's your brain's natural way of being, your brain's natural way of thinking. It's a survival mechanism. And so it's learning about that. And so just being aware of that is comforting, because you go, all right, well... And also being aware that everyone's going through this. No matter... even the Dalai Lama wakes up and probably goes, is my robe on straight? Oh, shit. Was I wearing that robe straight yesterday? Do you know what I mean? It's like... Everyone thinks this. We're all in the same boat together. And when you know that, because a lot of the stigma about mental health is that people keep it quiet. People don't talk about it. And it gets, you know, more intense because you can't share it. And you think it's just you know. And like, so when you realize that everyone's thinking the same thing all the time, and then you can just kind of treat your mind in a way like a dog. And it's like, nah, heel, you stay there, you know. You know, I know you're thinking those thoughts, but that's not who I am.
Exactly.
You can stay there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And you have good thoughts as well, like that. You have and then if you watch them all go out, I literally, like, sometimes on a night, especially if I've been really, really busy for a while, I'll, like, before I go to sleep, I'll just sit and just watch my thoughts. Like kind of like mindfulness, but I'll find it like really, really just interesting. Just like, I'm just gonna go impartial. I'm not
observe yourself.
Yeah, like I'm a human. Like, I'm born in this fucking crazy rock floats around a giant ball of fire. Kind of weird, you know. I'm just gonna sit and watch what it's like to be a human for a second.
Yeah, we're all mad as fuck.
I'm not gonna buy this bullshit like I just came up with it. I'm gonna buy it like it's my whole life was programming this shit behind the scenes for me. I'm just gonna watch what happens, and then you can pretty much from that. It's really, really hard, but obviously the journey is like you can pick your thoughts.
Well, that's that.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
No,
I keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
It's just like, I think so many thoughts, like, it always comes back to is like, I don't have any excuse not just to be good to people, and like, you only have one life. It's such a stupid, like, YOLO thing, but so true, isn't it? It's like that thing of, this is my one chance, so why the hell would I not make it as good as possible? And also, we're on the same boat, so be really good to other people and just like be like a bright spark in people's lives. So those are the good thoughts. And then the other thoughts, like, I'm never gonna make it as a musician. Everyone else. I'll watch them and be like,
and then you laugh. You can then learn to laugh at them, and you laugh at yourself as though like. I mean, it's like you guys have got this setup, and you learn how to make this setup amazing, and it's amazing setup. You know, the light, the mics, the whole vibe you've got is great, and it looks great, and it sounds great because you learn how to do it. So why wouldn't you do that with your own mind?
Exactly.
Learn how your mind works.
Yeah.
Learn how to use it the best way it can be. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So
and that's what I'm into, man.
Yeah, so.
Definitely. Are there any, like, you know, for people that are listening that might be interested in this sort of thing, were there any, like, sort of books or, like, particular resources, things that you found was like, this is good, this is, you know, informative?
Yeah, there's loads. But I think things come to you at different times when you're ready for them to come to you. Like, I could recommend a book that I really buzzed off that a few years ago I wouldn't have even resonated with.
Yeah.
The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle is amazing. It's an amazing read. And it's very clear and very practical and very down to earth, and but also there's I'd go with that really. I'd go with Eckhart Tolle, but the thing is as soon as you kind of find yourself on that path of learning, I believe that things just suddenly become available to you that is in the right place. And it's like when you when you want to buy a new guitar, you search around and you do some research and you find what guitar you go, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch a few reviews on that guitar. I want a fucking Strat. I'm gonna read a few reviews on a Strat. And it's the same with this. Yeah. It's like, I'm into mindful. Let's see what I like. This person. I like the way this person talks.
Puts it across. Does it resonate?
And my advice is just find what works for you. Like, and don't worry about it. Just if it interests you, go with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Definitely. Man, we went fucking hard then, didn't we?
It's good though. Right?
I love that shit, man.
Yeah,
like,
same.
You know, where it's just like, it's kind of like stream of consciousness, but it's not really. Well, it is stream of consciousness.
It's all consciousnly, man.
Yeah. But like, do you know what I mean? You just not like word vomiting, but like there's just you catch a wave of something, and it just goes, it goes round. That's great, man.
And talking to other people about it, because then that gets you thinking in a new way as well. Doesn't it? Like that opens up other avenues. And
that is also, and that's why YouTube's amazing, because there's so many people that have channels dedicated to these subjects, and they talk about their own experience, what they've learned. They reference people. You know, there's so many people I love on YouTube. I'm not going to start getting to naming folk. You know, just kind of if we're talking now and anyone's tickled by this, they will then start.
They'll start the search.
They'll start the search.
Journey.
Yeah, and then you have like Alan Watts, like totally different way of describing similar things.
Alan Watts and Ram Dass as well. Those '60s guys, amazing teachers. Yeah, like more modern day yogis. Then like you can. There's some incredible stories that I've read about. There's a book called about Paramahansa Yogananda, who was the first yogi out of India that came to the West, to America, to preach. Well, I won't say preach, just to let people know about certain things, certain ways of being in a spiritual way. And his book's beautiful because it's written by a yogi, like a kind of hugely powerful spiritual being who. And he talks about all these people, and they have. It's like reading a book about superheroes, the stuff that they do.
What's that book called?
It's called The Autobiography of a Yogi. I think. Yeah, Autobiography of a Yogi. It's one of my favorite books.
Cool.
It was amazing, and it's literally about a yogi talking about yogis.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a rock star. It'd be like reading Nicky Sixx's autobiography. But spiritual on a spiritual sense, and he meets people in India, man, that's just nuts, absolutely nuts. And like I mean the whole thing comes down to, is that really people that if people think, well, you know, I don't believe in all that or whatever, I don't believe in life after death, I don't believe in any of that, that's fine. If it resonates with you, then you'll get something out of it. It's your time to kind of learn that. You know?
I find the belief thing so funny as well. What people say they believe in, because like there's nothing crazier than like the just like where when you start thinking about like where the universe actually came from, or the multiverse, and you get into like scientifically the most like interesting and most like validated kind of theories at the moment are just nuts, man. You can't like. There's nothing. There's nothing about it like why you would believe that and not believe anything else. I think it all comes back to just like when you think about the multiverse, like the fact that it's just like it might, as far as we're aware, it's just we are one tiny bubble in this kind of basically infinite sea, and it's just these events that keep on happening. You know, just a Big Bang happens, and then that kind of eventually fades after like this huge amount. So when it's like, I don't believe in that, it's like, what? You are here. Like, there's like, what can you choose to believe in? I think it comes down to being really comfortable not knowing and just accepting
Yeah,
where
well, that
size of the picture.
I think you hit on it there. I think some people are comfortable in their known reality and maybe don't want to think about anything else, and but that's fine.
Yeah, totally. That's
that's the key. Another person that I will name drop here that I've read a lot of is Dr. David Hawkins, who writes a lot about reality and about like multi-dimensional stuff, and also about consciousness. And he came up with the map of consciousness, and it's basically like a chart of displaying the levels of consciousness from nothing to being enlightened, to being like Buddha or Jesus or whatever, right? To being like, Superman, right? Yeah. To being Dalai Lama or whatever. And the best thing is he talks you through the levels of consciousness, and then but he also talks you through the behaviors that are inherent to those levels of consciousness. And when you start reading it, you go, yeah, I know someone like that.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm like that, or I know someone like that.
Yeah.
And then he starts getting higher and higher, and you go, fuck, can I actually be in complete love all the time? Can I actually feel like that? And he also tells you in a way how to get to those levels of consciousness. But the thing that did to me was when I read those books, in a book called Power versus Force, right? If anyone's interested, Power versus Force, Dr. David Hawkins, he talks about the levels of consciousness below a certain point, which are kind of more kind of based around violence, based around anger, fear, shame, all those negative emotions. Then he talks about the stuff that's higher up, right? And he talks about the effects, and he talks about the whole history of humankind, and explains those situations in terms of levels of consciousness. So it's like if you get someone in like Somalia that's been brought up with a fucking Uzi in their hands, slapped about, you even hear stuff of like them cutting their heads open and slapping heroin in their heads and stuff, all sorts of crazy, horrible shit. You can't blame that person for being crazily violent and a mass murderer. And they're in the consciousness of fear, anger, maybe shame, all of that, right?
Yeah.
And then you get on the flip side, Dalai Lama, born in a crazily spiritual environment of the monks in Tibet. He's brought up with these things. He's brought up to meditate and stuff like that. So his behavior is different. So you look at those two human beings, and like that gives you true compassion, man, because you think, well, I can't hate that guy that's been brought up in that way. Do you know what I mean? That now kills people and robs ships. He's a pirate.
Exactly, yeah, he was destined to become that person.
But that's the level of consciousness he exists at.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, you can't expect someone to see a solution out of a problem that they don't see the solution of. Do you know what I mean? You can't. I don't really know if I'm making sense.
No, it does make sense, man.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
It's like someone who's taller and can see over the hedge, and they can see over the hedge, and then there's someone who's really short and can't see over the hedge. You can't blame them for not being able to see over the hedge. And that gives you true compassion for everyone, and also in a crazy way gives you compassion for a lot of the atrocities that happen on the earth, because it's happened by people at a very low state of consciousness. And that compassion is a great thing to have, because you go through your life going, it's cool, that's all right,
and with yourself as well, because you say, well, I'm no different. Like, be compassionate with yourself.
Yes, and if I get too fucked up and I be a twat to someone, the next day I come like, that's all right.
Exactly.
To get her free,
I can be compassionate to myself.
But no, not in terms of like you should have done it, but in terms of like, all right, well, even if I did like screw up on that occasion, like even that, is that an excuse to? Well, and now I know I shouldn't do it again, and I can pretty much just move on with my life and try and be better. Like,
honestly, mate, that is the core of. That's the core of it. The core of, from what I've learned, the core of all kind of growth in terms of yourself is all about self-love. Like, if you can just love yourself and be like, it's cool, you know, I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to slip up.
Yeah.
I'm going to end up, you know, doing something wrong at some point. But it's all right. If my overall intention's good, then it's all good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right on.
Smashing it.
Absolutely smashing it,
Yeah.
guys. Holy fuck, we went deep. Deep.
How's that happen?
Christ. Right. I think we'll wrap it up there.
Cool.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
we'll literally, this will go on
Yeah.
for fucking hours.
Should we go for a bit?
Yeah. well,
Let's do a beer. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man. Right, go.
Mm.
One last time for the people at home, if they want to listen to your stuff, you've got a new EP of the Offcuts.
Yeah. So I put out a record last year, which was kind of an official debut album,
Yeah.
and it was called "Someone You'd Leave Me For." And on the 3rd of December, I am releasing a 4-track EP. Well, that's what an EP is, isn't it? According to Ditto, the
That's the
distributors,
official. Okay, yeah.
if you're under 4 tracks, it can't be an EP. So it is an official EP in terms of digital distributors.
Wow.
4 tracks that were kind of discarded. Not
Yeah.
because they're shit, just because it didn't kind of work.
It didn't fit in
It
there.
made the record too boring as
Okay.
a whole. There's a couple of slow ones on there that there would have been too many slow ones on the record.
So you're putting out a
But-
boring EP. Then.
You know what? I listened to it the other day for the first time and really genuinely buzzed off it. So
Oh, sick.
Good.
there's moments of real levity there, and I think it's worth putting out. And I thought I'll put it
Nice.
out.
Cool, man.
Not the greatest sales pitch, but
I like it.
it's out 3rd of
honest.
December if
Awesome.
anyone wants to listen.
Yeah.
Cool, and that's going to be out on in all good places.
All good shops and streaming stores
Excellent.
and whatnot.
Is there any other shit that you want to plug and throw in people's faces whilst you're here, Guy?
Just get into learning about yourself and your mind and your body and your soul and also listen to these guys' podcasts every week.
Oh, you beautiful man. That was exactly what I want you to say. I do have one more question for you guys
Yes.
before we wrap this up. If you could sum this podcast up in 3 words, what would it be?
A lovely evening.
Oh, so
God,
quick.
that's
It's
so
so good, man.
quick.
That's literally the quickest.
That's good, that isn't it?
I'm
This
going to
goes
write
away.
that down and put that in like a love heart as well,
Yeah.
so I can remember this. I'm going to keep this little notebook. Oh, it's nice. That's a weird love heart. Fuck it,
Nice.
that'll do. Guy, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
No,
Thanks, Matt.
We'll
Cheers, man.
definitely get you and Scotty back on.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Yeah.
That would be funny to get his take on the story.
Yeah.
Definitely, man. Yeah, when you guys are back up and doing shit, we'll get you on, man.
Cool, man.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Matt. Thank you
Yeah, thank you.
for
man.
coming on.
Thank
again.
you, Matt.
Thank
It's
you.
been a very,
Yeah,
very
seriously.
interesting conversation,
Yeah, definitely.
everyone. I hope you people at home enjoyed what you were seeing. Are we on this camera now? I can't see the light, man.
They changed too quick.
They do change. Yeah, we're on this camera. Anyway,
Right.
sorry for the podcast people. They must be thinking like, what the
Amateurs,
fuck are they doing?
amateurs, mate.
Yeah.
Amateurs.
We'll cut this out, but we won't because I can't be asked. But anyway, we're putting on podcasts like this every week. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on all good podcasting places. We're doing a mental health special at the end of November, so you might be already have missed it, but they'll be out there for you to check out. Next week we have Jay Chambers, who's a great Manchester artist, definitely worth checking out as well. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
I think we covered it, man.
Yeah, I think we've nailed it.
I've really enjoyed tonight. Thank you.
Yeah,
no,
man.
thank you, man.
It's
Yeah,
been
It's been
fun.
lovely
Yeah.
to chat in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's been good. Thank you everyone for listening at home, and we'll see you again next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast to catch up on new episodes every week. Also, check us out on our Facebook and Instagram at Rec Rooms, where you can find out about our other exciting music series. We also have this and all our other episodes of the podcast up on our Rec Rooms YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure. See you next time.